All right, mic check 1 2 1 2. Oh man, it feels so good. It feels so good. It feels great. There is no place that I would rather be on this good Tuesday night than right here with you folks. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 3 of Tuesday night's main event. I am, of course, your host, Don P. I want to thank each and every last one of y'all for y'all support of this show. Damn, my floor. Ugh. Y'all don't understand how happy I am to be moving and getting my new studio. Y'all just understand that's something that I'll share with y'all for another time. But again, man, welcome Tuesday night's main event. This is episode 3. Thank you everybody for tuning in to last week's episode 2 and 2.5, which I had to split up. I know I was late putting it on, but hey man, sometimes stuff happens, man, when you got a bunch of things going on at home and you got stuff you gotta do. You gotta do this, you gotta do that, and people don't respect your shit. And that's just a rant. I'm not gonna rant. But let's just get right to it, man. A pretty good weekend or week in wrestling. WWE. Again, I'm still only covering WWE for this show temporarily. Um, I'll say I do not have the time or the just I don't have the time to watch anything other than WWE stuff right now. It's 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown, and then I do watch NXT. I don't talk about NXT a lot here, but I will end up talking NXT. I will do previews of their PLEs, as they want to call them. But trying to find time to watch TNA and trying to find time to watch AEW and trying to find time to watch NWA right now is just not in the cards for me. If I didn't have 3 other podcasts that I was doing, then more than likely I would cover every single thing in wrestling. New Japan too. I'm not gonna leave New Japan out because people always you can't leave anything out with anybody nowadays because they're gonna make you know that you forgot about it. But just right now, WWE is what I'm covering. I know AEW has a pay-per-view coming up. I'm not going to promise you that I'm going to watch it, but if I do watch it, I will give my opinion about it. I say that. Let's just get to it, man. WWE last Friday night SmackDown opened up with the Nia Jax Championship celebration, which was kind of blah to me. I am a Nia Jax fan. I like what her and Tiffany are doing. I could have went without Pretty Deadly, but I understand what they're trying to do with Pretty Deadly. It's almost close to what they did with the Street Profits for a long time. Remember when the Street Profits first popped up on Raw? They were doing a lot of backstage stuff. They didn't look like mutts like these two dudes do. Even though Pretty Deadly are pretty good in the ring, they are pretty good on the mic. That segment could have went without them. I could have went without the song. It could have just been Tiffy and Nia doing their thing. And that I wouldn't have been upset at. But that is abruptly interrupted by none other than Mi Chin, who I like. Just this microphone. Let me see. That don't make a damn difference. Interrupted by Mi Chin, who proceeds to hit everybody with a kendo stick, including Pretty Deadly numerous amount of times, hit Tiffany with it and hit Nia with it. And that thing, it just got, out of hand, and it's Mi Chin. But before that, you had Nia telling Tiffy, hey, bow down. You got to bow down to me. Yada, 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 yada. So you could see the tension between the two of them building up. It's going to be a matter of time. And I don't think they're not going to fast track this thing. They're going to let this thing go for a while. It might come to blows or it might blow over at Bad Blood, depending on who Nia's challenger is. Her next challenger is Mi Chen, which, okay, Mi Chen is good, but lately Mi Chen has been the enhancement girl. She's just been in there to make others look good, but I guess that's like a gift and a curse of being somebody that's good in the ring. But that segment was okay. And then we fast forward to Carmelo Hayes versus Andrade, which was a good match. These guys have put on 3 good matches. These two guys, I mean, Andrade is legendary around the world, former luchador, and Carmelo Hayes for the last 2.5 years, 3 years, have been tearing it down at NXT as your North American champion, and then ultimately your NXT champion. So, like, putting these two guys in the ring together, great match. Melo finally got a win, so this rivalry continues. So he doesn't look like a mutt. I mean, he was their top draft, one of a first round pick for SmackDown. He's one of, let's just call him one of HBK's boys. This is the HBK era in NXT, and he was like the first. Like he is him. That this rivalry keeps going. There was a little scrum after the match. So this one is going to probably keep going. I don't know how much longer or how many more SmackDowns are they going to put these two guys on against each other. Eventually, this thing has to come to a close, and eventually these two dudes have to move on. Also, even before this match, Melo saw the big 3 backstage and was trying to talk to him or whatever, and they kind of laughed at him and made him look like a mutt. So maybe now he really doesn't look like a mutt. So let's give it up for Melo for beating Andrade. Next up, you have Blair Davenport taking on Naomi. Blair Davenport and Naomi. She beat Naomi. Blair defeated Naomi with a hell of a move. I don't know about y'all, but Blair Davenport's pretty darn good. She's pretty darn good there, man. She needed this win more than Naomi needed this win. You have to establish this faction with Blair Davenport, Isla Dawn, and Alba Fire. It has to do something. It has to be something, and they can't look bad. So I understand the logic here. Again, I'm gonna speak from storyline, but then I'm gonna throw my opinions in there and just throw y'all a little bit of realness. Like, I'm gonna speak kayfabe, but I'm also I'm gonna shoot as well. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna shoot, and it's a work shoot thing going on here. I'm gonna do a little bit of both. But I understand that. Next week on SmackDown, the big 3, Jay, Bianca, and Naomi will take on Isla, Alba, and Blair. We'll see what this trio stacks up to be, or see what they look like in the coming weeks. A lot of people feel like they don't deserve those championships. I'll get to that later on in the show. Kevin Owens beat Grayson Waller in a banger of a match. Kevin Owens is so awesome. I love Kevin Owens. Grayson Waller is good. But he is a douchebag. Like, here, we gonna work shoot here. Gets busy in the ring. But now it should be about that time where this whole Waller and Austin Theory, this whole A-Town Down Under thing, it might be time to wrap this thing up. Again, I'm gonna keep saying it until they wrap it up, or I'll probably say it for the next 2 weeks. And if they don't wrap it up in the next 2 weeks, I'm gonna just move along to something else. Really, because there's a crack in their foundation. Waller he's not a good person, and everyone sees it, but Austin Theory. The bigger question here is if they split and they get into some type of a feud, will the WWE universe get behind Austin Theory? Because this guy, the heat that's been on him since Vince McMahon kind of like crowned him or made him the chosen one, it's been kind of murky for him. People hate him, but Austin Theory is great. I think Austin Theory is one of those guys that can, if they turn him babyface and let him be a babyface, he can go on to main event WrestleMania. He could go on to be a multiple world champion. I can see somewhere in the future a Braun Breaker, Austin Theory WrestleMania main event. Hell, I could even see Austin Theory, Dominic Mysterio for the WWE Championship or for the World Heavyweight Championship at some point. He's a young guy. He's 26 years old, 26, 27 years old. He has it. He has the look. He has the look. He can talk, and he has the moves in the ring. The bigger question is, will the fans get behind it? That's the big question here. KO was trying to kill Waller. Here comes Theory again. They grab chairs. Cody comes in. They clear the ring. And KO's behind Cody with the chair. People were thinking, is this when the time is going to come? Is it going to happen? And KO dropped the chair, gave Cody a thank you, got out of there. Question for y'all: do y'all think this Friday will be the Friday where KO turns, or will they keep him? Or you have a babyface versus babyface match? You can have those matches. With Cody, like, because Cody is just like, hey, I'm just gonna do my man a solid. I'm wondering because it seemed like they're trying to tease it. Kevin Owens is known to stab people in the back. He's done it to Sami Zayn. He did it to Chris Jericho. So to add more fuel to this matchup, or it could just be a matchup where he does that Owens does fall short at Bash in Berlin, and then he just goes crazy on Cody, or he just goes crazy on the SmackDown at the Bash in Berlin to somehow lead into Bad Blood. It's a lot of possibilities there. I'm just throwing that one out there. Like, will he turn before or after? It feels like after at this. The Street Profits beat DIY to become the #1 contender for the WWE Tag Team Championships in a hell of a match. DIY is an awesome tag team. DIY makes everybody look good. I think it's because they're small and they can sell everything. Those guys are great. Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, great guys. But the Street Profits finally get another shot at the number one contenders. And they're getting is this a good idea to feed them to the Samoans? And is this going to lead into them possibly breaking up? I wonder. And I know it's a lot of that. And I talk the breakup talk because that would be a good way to do something for those two guys, for both of those guys. Tez is a star. Tez is main event. Tez is cash money, all that. He has the looks. He can talk. He has the moves. Tez is great. Dawkins is good. We've seen the work that Dawkins has put in to get his body together, to look like a champion, to like I call him D'Lo Brown Jr. Now y'all can't tell me he don't remind y'all of D'Lo Brown a little bit. But even if you do break them up, it does not necessarily mean one has to turn on the other. Even though a heel Montez Ford will probably tear the house down every single time he steps out there. You don't have to make them fight each other. You don't have to make them turn on each other. There could be a scenario where I don't know what they're going to do as far as with the Netflix thing, but there is a WWE draft at some point. Split them up there, let them go their separate ways without them having to turn on each other. Excuse me, I can't talk. But that was a banger of a match. They will go on to take on the Samoans or the Tongans. It'll be any combination of Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, and Jacob Fatu. They're under the free bird rule. That was something that was told, and they finally revealed. It's like, all right, so who's gonna hold the championships? And I think they did that just because they're trying to sell the Jacob Fatu injury. Speaking of Jacob Fatu, boy, I was not expecting that encounter. So Solo Sikoa comes out with Tama Tonga. So the first thing I thought, where the hell is Tonga Low at? It didn't matter. Solo comes out talking his trash. If he wants to will follow, you got to come out. Out comes Roman again. Tama Tonga, listen, I know there are some wrestling fans out there that have seen what Tama Tonga can do, and that Tama Tonga is absolutely an incredible wrestler, and he gets nasty, and he does work stiff. Pause. He gets busy in the ring. I guess for this particular role here, or they brought him in for this, he looks a little crazy because he's taking everybody's finish that I can think of. Roman gets him out of the way, gets Solo, and gets the Uafala, puts him back on. It looked like some Thanos. It was just like, oh, it's such relief. And then out of nowhere, he gets kicked in the face, and he gets attacked by Jacob Fatu, and that made Jacob Fatu look. He made Jacob Fatu look absolutely, positively fantastic. He made him, the way he sold that buckle bump, it was incredible. We all know what's gonna unfold with this bloodline storyline. Eventually, Jimmy's gonna come back. Eventually, Jay and Sammy are gonna pop back out. Eventually, Paul Heyman's gonna pop out with some sort of surprise and some backup. This story isn't over. Is it going to end up at War Games? Which it probably will. And this is another week that Roman Reigns is back. and he hasn't touched the microphone. He's there. It's arrive, wreck everyone, and leave. That's what it seems like. He's not talking just yet. Eventually, he will have to talk, or eventually, he will talk. But that was SmackDown. Overall, SmackDown was decent. The matches, the Melo and Andrade match was dope. KO and Wilder was a great match. And the Street Profits and DIY was awesome. And you bookended with that final segment with Solo Sikoa, who is getting better. But if they're going to do a Solo Sikoa versus Roman Reigns match, they're going to have to do it at Bad Blood. Because Jacob Fatu, what he just did on Friday is only going to make Solo look small and him look and make Jacob look like the star. I'm being honest with you. That's how I feel about it. And eventually Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns is WrestleMania worthy. At this point, Solo Sikoa versus Roman Reigns isn't. I don't know if they're going to try that. I don't know if they're scheduling that internally or how they're doing that. I just know right now I don't think it'll work. It has to be Jacob versus Roman somehow. But we'll just see how this storyline unfolds. Let's move on to Monday Night Raw. It opened up with Randy Orton coming out, getting a huge pop from the crowd, and Gunther interrupts him. This is perfect. This is the perfect first defense. I think I said this a couple of weeks ago. This is the perfect first defense for Gunther. You get a veteran like Randy Orton who's been to the mountaintop 14 times. 15 times. He wants to become a 15-time world champion. And they're making him look strong in the process, which if or when Gunther beats him, it's going to make Gunther look like that dude, which Gunther is already that dude. You just have to look out for that element of surprise, which is that RKO out of nowhere. Ludwig Kaiser comes in with the chop block to take Orton down, and it's like, all right, this is our main event for the night. That sets that up. And then we move on to Sheamus versus Pete Dunne, which, oh my God. Sheamus is a surefire Hall of Famer. He is an all-time great. Sheamus is so good. I think Sheamus went through that stretch where people really did hate him for beating up on Daniel Bryan, and it kind of just carried on. Even when they was trying to make him a good guy with him and Cesaro with the bar, they were trying to make them good guys, but people were still booing Sheamus, but people loved Cesaro because Cesaro was so great. It took Sheamus a while, but he got the people on his side again, beating Pete Dunne, and what a great match. Pete Dunne is awesome. Pete Dunne is one of my favorite guys to watch. Pete Dunne has been one of my favorites to watch since the UK Championship tournament years back. The dude reminds me of Fit Finlay fused with a little bit of William Regal. That's who he reminds me of. I love Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne is great. And the future, I can see, and I wish they would have let him in NXT to clear the division out years ago, but they didn't do that. It is what it is. But I want him and Dragunov in a proper match, because those two dudes would give us a banger. We got cheated out of that a few weeks ago on Raw. Come on, y'all, get that together. Then we move on to Maxine Dupree versus Ivy Nile, which was interrupted by the Wyatt Six. I love to see their entrance. I would have rather them not interrupt this match, or just not even let this match start and them interrupt this. Nikki Cross came out to confront Ivy Nile. And then here comes the Creed brothers and Chad Gable. And then the boys popped up and Uncle Howdy popped up and hit Chad Gable with a Sister Abigail. And Chad Gable will take on Uncle Howdy. Uncle Howdy's wrestling debut next week on Monday Night Raw. They did announce the most of the card for Monday Night Raw next week, which is absolutely loaded. Holy moly. Then we move on. CM Punk came out and cut a promo saying, hey guys, Orlando, I love you guys. I miss you guys. WWE is hot right now. It's all because of you. Why am I so happy? Yada, yada, yada. And then he says, I am happy because me and Drew McIntyre are going to have a strap match at Bash in Berlin. I kind of like hinted toward that, and they kind of telegraphed that by him whooping Drew with the belt. He's like, you're going to be tied to me. And then here comes Drew. He's like, put the strap down, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I'll give you the strap if you give me the bracelet. All over this damn bracelet again. Come on, broski. But I am looking forward to that. Then we move on to the New Day and Odyssey Jones, who beat the Final Testament. They're teasing this New Day breakup. I honestly don't want to see them break up. I want to see some type of something where Big E does come in and give his blessing for Odyssey Jones to join them. Because Xavier Woods doesn't seem happy about it. And they brought Big E's name up. So, you know, sometimes they telegraph certain things and they leave little Easter eggs. Like, you have to get the Easter eggs. I hate all that shit, though. Where you get those Easter eggs where they telegraph certain things. But it's a decent match. Final Testament, either break them up or make them dominant. Because for them to be a heel faction with Karrion Kross, who's a big dude and it can be dominant and big and physical, and you got the AOP with Paul Ellering as their manager, this faction does not look dominant at all. They look like mutts. They're losing to little ass New Day. And I know Odyssey Jones is one big guy. Like, he's a huge dude. But the Final Testament shouldn't look like this. They shouldn't look like mutts. And I do believe that Odyssey Jones could and should be Big E's replacement. Let's be honest, y'all. Big E's been down for a couple of years, and I know, like, the nostalgia, but I don't think he's coming back. Big E doesn't sound like he's coming back. It just is what it is, y'all. We gotta let that be. So for them to tease this and possibly to happen, or no, I don't think they'll make Odyssey Jones a monster heel, because we got a monster heel. Speaking of, Big Bronson Reed beat The Miz in a match, and he was about to tsunami Miz again, and Braun Strowman's music hit. And they had their little face off and they went to commercial. Now, Braun Strowman is what I believe they want. Bronson Reed is what Braun Strowman should be. I'm not going to say what I'm going to say me. That's what Braun Strowman should be. Every time they had him as a heel, he was pulling stuff down, throwing people out of ambulances, flipping ambulances over, using hooks and rope, all this stupid stuff. breaking rings. Like, it was just a bunch of dumb stuff. Steel cages. This is a lot of dumb stuff. It made him look goofy. This is Triple H's chance. And I know they want to keep him babyface, but that big dude do not need to be a babyface. He needs to be a big monster heel who beats up people and after the match decapitates them. Like Bronson Reed has done the last 2 weeks. What he did to Seth Rollins, what he did to R-Truth, what he was getting ready to do to The Miz. So that sets up Big Bronson Reed versus Braun Strowman next week on Monday Night Raw. In the words of our good friend Bad News Barrett, it's Monday Night Meat. Or in the words of one Biggie Langston, two big meaty men bumping meat. It's a Vince McMahon wet dream all over again. And then we move on to a Braun Breaker promo cut in the back where he says that there is going to be an Intercontinental Championship tournament or a number one contenders tournament to determine who his next opponent is going to be. Jay Uso is the odds-on favorite. Once Jay Uso said, all right, Sami Zayn's not here, so I'm, yada. It was talking about this. Let me concentrate on my singles thing. Jay Uso beating Braun Breaker, I'm with that. Jay Uso deserves a singles run with he deserves a singles title. He's the hottest thing. He's the hottest thing on the roster right now. Him and LA Knight are the hottest things going on Raw and SmackDown, respectively. So let's move on. Isla Dawn and Alba Fire beat Damage Control and PFC. I'm gonna call them PFC. I'm not gonna call them the rest that long night. Pure Fusion Collective. I'm not a fan of it. So PFC they are. PFC being Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, and what's my girl name? Y'all gotta forgive me, man. I forgot that girl's. It's Baszler, it's Stark, and it's oh my God, I'm drawing. Y'all gotta forgive me, man. Yeah, I can't believe I'm missing that girl's name. Oh my God. Yeah. This girl's name is escaping me, y'all. Y'all gotta help me out. Oh my God, man. Goodness gracious of life. I forget this girl's name, but they beat Damage Control and PFC. Why am I forgetting this girl's name, man? What is wrong with me? Sonya Deville. There it is, y'all. There we go. Sonya Deville. It's PFC, but they're going to be called PFC. I'm not going to call them Pure Fusion. Pure Fusion Collective. That's so horrible. But Isla and Alba has to get these type of wins. Just like Blair needed that win against Naomi. Now, Isla, Alba, and Blair need to win over the big three of Jade, Bianca, and Naomi just to establish them as some type of a force and to be these women tag team champions. Otherwise, if they lose, why the hell do you have the belts on them? Or if they lose and they end up fighting them for the championships and win, like it's kind of like running in circles. So this is needed. I am all right with this. I think Damage Control will end up being the ones to take those titles away from them. And it's going to be when Asuka comes back. I think Asuka should be back really, really soon. I feel like that's who Isla Alba and Blair are really going to end up feuding with is with the damage control with Asuka in play because Dakota Kai is out. And then we go to this main event, Ludwig Kaiser versus Randy Orton, which was an absolute banger. I don't think Randy Orton can have a bad match with anyone except for Brock Lesnar. Seriously. Randy Orton is that dude that can wrestle a broomstick or a chair or a light pole or a couch or whatever, and it'll look good. But Ludwig Kaiser, this was his breakout performance. The matches against Sheamus were okay, but against Randy Orton, he showed that he has skill. The dude, he has a mid-card Intercontinental Champion written all over, or United States Champion written all over. He's one of those guys. He can hold a singles title. He is that good. He has the looks. He's 6'3", 230 pounds. He can talk. And he does have skill. And Rock went off with Gunther and Orton brawling, and then it went off. I like how Triple H does that. It's like, all right, we're going to leave him wanting more. As y'all know, that was last night was Pat McAfee's last show for a while. He's going to go away and do college football. He will be back in January for the Netflix premiere. Of course, he's going to be back for that. So salute Pat McAfee. And finally, before we get out of here, we want to give a rest in peace to Afa Anoa'i, excuse me. Of the Wild Samoans. He passed away Friday at the age of 81. Oh man, that has to hit really, really hard because Sika just passed away 2 months ago. So we've lost the Wild Samoans in a 2-month span. Alpha is one of the greats. The Wild Samoans is one of the greatest tag teams of all time. They've trained countless guys, including like all of this, like most of the Samoan guys. They trained Batista, a few of the women. So Alpha will be missed. The tribute they did to him, they did it right and they did it proper. Kudos to WWE for that. They always do those things right. But again, man, overall, like it was a good WWE Friday and Monday. And as of right now, for Bash in Berlin, we have 4 matches. I'm expecting for one more match to be added this Friday on SmackDown or before next week when I preview, because next week is going to be a preview of Clash at the Castle. So it'll probably be I recap and then I'll give you the bonus episode. So like episode 4.5. Or I'll probably just preview Bash Berlin and call it y'all know how we do, man. So far we have 4 matches. The World Heavyweight Championship, Gunther versus Randy Orton. The Undisputed WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens. Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley versus Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan. And the strap match with CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre, which reminds me, I don't have it on my board, but I do have it in my notes. Dominic Mysterio challenged Damian Priest to a one-on-one match. And in typical Judgment Day fashion, the match never got going because the rest of Judgment Day attacked Damian Priest, in which Priest saw it coming. And like it was a lot of chaos. But listen to me when I tell y'all, Dominic Mysterio is the star of the Judgment Day. I know how everyone feels about Finn. Finn is great. Finn is all-time great. Finn is a future WWE Hall of Famer. And as great as Finn is, Dominic Mysterio is the heat there. So I could see some point where eventually Dom gets tired of them, or Dom is one like 4.5, 5 star, and I hate to even bring up the star rating. He's that great performance match away from the crowd, like him getting some cheers. Maybe the Royal Rumble could be his coming out party somehow, some way, or sometime after WrestleMania, something. But he's really like that great. He needs a signature great match against somebody that'll cause that little bit of dissension where Finn and JD decide that they want to turn on Dom because Dom is trying to be the leader, or Dom is getting popular, or they're jealous. Like, because that seems to be the thing with Judgment Day. Guys get popular, people get jealous, and then boom, they're kicked out. But we'll see what happens with that. But yes, man, that is going to bring an end to another episode of Tuesday Night's Main Event. Make sure y'all tune in next week. I am going to recap SmackDown. I am going to recap the Go Home Raw. And I also will be giving my picks for Bash in Berlin. That's right. No more Pizzle's Picks. Pizzle's Picks premieres on August the 29th at 7:30. I will be doing the college. And then I think from going from there for opening NFL weekend, I think I will start it at 7. I believe that's how I'm going to do that. So until next week, y'all, this has been Tuesday Night's Main Event.